An invulnerable Inquisitor who crippling volleys and retreats. Oh, that crippling volley. It is quite powerful. Meanwhile, the Warlock is stealing this point up here, hoping to draw the blob away. This is an interesting choice, going for the cap here, exposing where his unit positions are. And Swift does not hesitate. He is going to get that blob ready to chew through those Banshees. And the Stomp. They have Distortion Field up now, so they're going to take significantly reduced damage from ranged. However, that is a lot of ranged. Oh, and that Mana Core peeks itself out again. It better be careful, because those Banshees are fleet of footing their way over. Will they get it? It doesn't look like it. Distortion Field is not protecting them enough. It's worn off now. Oh boy, that's a bad retreat, and they are going right through everything. However, everything stops shooting, giving the Banshees free path. They do lose their Exarch again. A very expensive loss. A nice Immolator strike on the Stormtroopers. However, the big blob is actually still right back there. They didn't go anywhere. Now the icons for the Warlock have disappeared. However, he is retreating right there. Meanwhile, the main force of Shadowmaster has snuck around behind. And Swift is advancing for what looks like a power bash. However, Shadowmaster has fooled him because he doesn't have any power. A Mana Core strike coming in on these units. Will Shadowmaster notice? He does. He retreats both, but does not move the Wraith Lord. Oh, it takes 2 rockets, a bit of a third, but not the 4th. Oh boy. This is looking like a tense situation now for Shadowmaster. He's constantly getting driven off. Those Stormtroopers put a big damper on his Wraith Lord's party time. Uh-oh. The Wraith Lord does have... No, it does not have a Shuriken Cannon yet. So it is going to start slicing up the Sentinel. However, with the Stormtroopers nearby, it's not going to stick around until its Warlock and Banshees show up. These Banshees are going to come in on those Stormtroopers, fleet of footing, a nice sideways attack rather than head-on. However, they're going to have to pull back away from this Guardsman blob as it can focus fire down almost anything with relative ease. Distortion Field is up now on the Banshees. However, they have chosen to refrain from advancing. A bit of a questionable decision. There's that Chimera now. That's going to make this Guardsman blob very difficult to deal with unless, as Shadowmaster has purchased, you have Wraith Guards. Uh-oh. There's that Mana Core. It's going in for a rocket strike. It's going to get 1 model. And the model doesn't even die, but she did get flung around there, so she's a little bit discombobulated. She's going to... Oh, and she gets shot up by that Chimera right before she could recover from the shell shocking. Now, if Shadowmaster could get anything around this front, he would be able to catch that Mana Core. So that behavior with that Mana Core is very risky. However, in 1v1, when you're playing a somewhat blobby game, it can be a little bit less so. Now, those Wraith Lords are focusing on the Chimera, but that's unfortunate because the Banshees are on the Chimera, and Wraith Guards do friendly fire. Uh-oh. Stormtroopers were not moving, and they are dead. A backhand from the Wraith Lord finishes them off. This Distortion Field is keeping these Banshees in form as they try to get the last couple of hits, that last 92 hit points, 60 hit points, 40 hit points. Oh, and the Chimera goes down. That mass retreat from those Guardsmen probably wasn't necessary. I mean, it was a bit of a dangerous situation. However, uh-oh, the Mana Core has exposed itself. Will the Banshees react? They're going for a Gen Bash here. Interesting choice with the Manticore driving around nearby, who has been the bane of Shadowmaster's game to this point. The Sentinel did go down as well. However, Swift has rebought the Sentinel. An interesting late game decision when you're floating that much resources to buy a Sentinel. If we add the 330 that he just spent, he probably could have got a Leman Russ. And while Wraith Guards and Wraith Lords are a decent anti-vehicle, Leman Russ, properly microed, can take care of them. It just has to keep moving so the Wraith Guards can't hit it, and keep away from the Wraith Lord. In comes the Inquisitor. She's on those Wraith Guards. A rocket run there? Yes, that is a rocket run. And it is going to capture 1 Guardian squad goes down off of that. No Wraithguard models. The Wraith Lord is escaping that Manticore strike similarly. Another difficult thing for players of less than top end rank, and maybe even players of that rank as well, is knowing exactly how long to keep units on the field. Uh-oh, we have an Autarch call in, but Swift retreats quickly. He does almost entirely lose this Imperial Guardsman squad. Only the Commissar survives. Even the Sergeant went down. So that is a big problem there. Now this Autarch is getting her Executioner right away, so she will be able to assassinate this Manticore if it's not quick enough in its escape. However, this Sentinel is coming in to run interference. It will likely deploy a Stomp when it gets a moment to. If it gets a moment to, it does, but the Autarch was already turned around. As I was saying, the one thing that's difficult is knowing which troops to retreat when. On-field time is important, but at the same time, you don't want to leave a Guardian squad out there by itself when it's getting focus fired down quickly. However, if you just pull back slightly instead of full retreating, you can sometimes bait someone into splitting up their forces, and then you can use your one Guardian squad or whatever stayed on the field to harass a little bit, to delay caps, like this Autarch just did. Perfect. You see, Swift had all these troops ready to fight, but he thought that Shadowmaster was back at his base. He did not know that the Autarch had stuck around. And even though the Inquisitor is invulnerable, that has now worn off. Uh-oh, there's a Purgiatus. That's not how you pronounce that, but, and it looks like it actually just kicked the crap out of those guardsmen. Whew. That is brutal. That is a brutal self-KO there. Meanwhile, it looks like Shadowmaster was planning to flank around the bottom, but decides he better go up for that middle point first. We have Ogryns on the way for Swift. Ogryns are actually quite a good choice, except for the Wraithlord. They do heavy melee, so they can kill the Wraithlord, but the Wraithlord is quite powerful. Guardians trying to get a little ninja cap going, however they run into a Sentinel and now a Manticore. But they are able to quickly step out of that Manticore barrage. You don't want to usually cast Manticores on units that are, your opponent is clearly microing. Is that another? Oh no, that is a Hellfury strike, which Shadowmaster looks like he has just stopped watching those. So they are taking quite a bit of damage from that. And now combined with the Sentinel and these Guardsmen, they are going to have to actually retreat out of there. They lose one member. Oh, it doesn't look like they're going to lose another member. They do not. Tier 3 now coming up for Shadowmaster. Nice hiding spot for the Manticore. I love his little radar thing there. It spins around in quite amusing ways, like a sprinkler. Back and forth. Alright. The Ogryns are on the field. And they have a bonehead, and they love to gobble up Autarchs. That's one of their favorite meals. Ogryns, actually in their rider, when you recruit them, demand at least one Autarch per day for healthy living. It's a bit of a weird request, but, Alright, Invincible, Inquisitor, and Manticore Strike on top of it, almost killing the Wraithguard, almost killing the Wraith Lord. That Wraithlord's going to have to start moving, but he does not. Now, I said before he could stick around when the Guardians were there, even though Plasma does light damage, but that was when he had almost 500 hit points still. At 200, you don't want to stick around. Because any anti-vehicle could appear out of somewhere and one-shot you. Alright, so this Inquisitor has her energy bubble up and is fighting these Ogryns, successfully killing the one model, not the Bonehead. It looked like the Bonehead for a moment, but then I saw the helmet on the one that was still alive. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there. See, the Bonehead has like a little side helmet on his head. Half helmet. Another Chimera coming out for Swift.